There are strivers, arrivers, thrivers, survivors, and divers. In this episode, I'm going to address how to become a thriving individual and never settle for surviving. This is important because a lot of people die prematurely because they stop growing. So, I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been helping people since 1974. I've been doing this as of the recording of this episode for over 48 years. Doing what? Helping people optimize assets and minimize taxes and empower their authentic wealth. So, a lot of people think I'm a financial strategist, retirement planning specialist, which I am, but it goes way deeper than money. Because most people at the end of the day realize that money is not the most important thing. It is usually their health, their beliefs, their faith, their relationships. They don't take the money with them when they die. There's no luggage racks on hearses, as the song says. So they come to me because I look at things from a holistic standpoint. What I call 3 dimensions of authentic wealth, and only one dimension has to do with financial asset optimization. The other 2 dimensions has to do with your foundational assets and your intellectual assets. Foundational assets are your family, your relationships, your faith, your beliefs, your values, your heritage, and so forth. The intellectual dimension is the knowledge, attitude, skills, habits, and so forth. But this is your education and knowledge and experiences, which gives you your wisdom and so forth. And you want to leave behind those experiences, the knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits, and your heritage and your faith and your beliefs to your children and grandchildren. And that's more valuable than leaving behind a bunch of money. So K.A.S.H stands for knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. It's an acronym. That K.A.S.H is more important than the C.A.S.H. I have many episodes on this channel that talk about K.A.S.H besides the C.A.S.H. You have to be balanced, okay? Now, as I proceed, I'm going to show you how so many people get sucked into building wealth and then they watch it dissipate and disappear. So it creates a bell curve that I'll talk about, and I'm going to give you the secrets to longevity and how thrivers continue to not only thrive, but not outlive their money, versus those that hunker down, just trying to not outlive their money, and they actually become a self-fulfilling prophecy because it's up here a lot of times. And I'm going to share with you at the end of this episode how you can extend your life 5, 10, even 20 years. I've done it for many people. I'm not a physician, but you're going to be blown away. So here we go. In a lot of my books and my educational seminars, I put a bell curve on the screen. And I say, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that go through 5 different phases in their lifetime, or families who succeed. They go through this bell curve for 3 generations and they start all over again. And hence the saying, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations, rice paddy to rice paddy in 3 generations, clogs to clogs in 3 generations. Well, what does that mean? Well, a lot of times people work really, really hard to build up, wealth or to become successful. And then in an effort to not have their kids have to work as hard as they did, they dump it in their laps, and it creates entitlement. When do I get my share? And they sit back, and by the 3rd generation, it's all gone. And the 4th generation is rolling up their shirt sleeves again because it's all gone. And in my books and videos, I talk about how the Vanderbilt family, after Cornelius Vanderbilt died in 1877 and left behind $105 million, that could have grown to billions and trillions, because that's what happened to the Rothschilds' wealth, because they did something different. The Vanderbilt family just dumped it in their kids' lap and it ruined them. And by the 4th generation, they were like, what? It's all gone? We have to work? We're one of them now? Yeah, it's amazing. And I don't endorse the Vanderbilt or Rothschild families by any means, but it illustrates the point of 2 different approaches to how you either empower your posterity or you enable them and actually ruin them with an entitlement mentality. When do I get my share? So in this bell curve, We have strivers, arrivers, thrivers, survivors, and divers, and it's this bell curve. Now, I'll simplify. A striver, oftentimes, are the masses. Financially speaking, they will always have too much month left at the end of their money, if you know what I mean. These are the financial jellyfish who will always consume. They never discipline themselves, and unfortunately, this is what a lot of financial advisors do, giving them advice, cut up your credit cards, act your wage, blah, 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 blah. I have different methods for strivers who want to learn how to be disciplined, but I like to work with at least the arrivers. Arrivers learn how to live on less than what they earn, okay? And they start saving 10, 15, 20% of their income. They don't just go out and spend. And they learn 3 marvels or miracles, usually, of wealth accumulation. Compound interest is the first. Second is tax-free accumulation of money. And the third is safe positive leverage. That's the ability to own and control assets with very little or none of your money tied up or at risk in that asset. A lot of people don't understand that. Those are the 3 marvels. Now, a lot of arrivers, they only do it a one-off. They get one rental property and then they sit back like it's a lifestyle. Or they sock away money and they just sit back and they just go, okay, I'm going to be fine or whatever. And then they run out of money because they followed the herd and taxes weren't lower when they retired and so forth, by putting money in traditional IRAs and 401ks, for example. You have thrivers, and thrivers understand basically how to repeat the process. So if we're talking about real estate, they begin to acquire multiple properties. They take their rental income and continue to get additional properties. And they start one business and they expand it. They start another business. So they repeat the process. It's not a one-off. The next phase besides strivers, arrivers, and thrivers is survivors. And this is where a lot of people, when they approach retirement, I've never liked the word retire. It means put out of use. It came out in the Industrial Revolution when in the factories, they retired worn out equipment. They put it out of use. And so it used to be people never retired. They worked on the farm until they died. And then they came out with retirement. And so they put out of use people and hired younger ones for cheaper. And when people were put out of use or retired, the average life expectancy was only 7 years. Because when you lose a purpose for living, people were dying in 7 years, and Social Security was introduced back then in the Industrial Revolution. And frankly, when they started it, they never figured they had to pay Social Security benefits for more than an average of 7 years. That has all changed, and that's one of the reasons why the government now owes $130 trillion or more dollars in future Social Security and Medicare benefits to retirees, because people are living longer and they're running up healthcare costs. It's a train wreck waiting to happen. That's another topic. So people sometimes, they hunker down. They approach retirement and they just want to hunker down and survive. I just want to survive. I don't want to outlive my money. When you get down into a survival mindset, you stop growing, go downhill physically, financially, and people then start to lose their assets and their wealth dives and runs out before they do, and then they want to die. So I've covered strivers, arrivers, thrivers, survivors, and divers, okay? Now, I would love to make sure you are a thriver forever, and that as you pass away, your kids stay in a thriving mindset forever, instead of getting into this survivor and diver mindset. That's where a lot of family wealth dissipates and disappears within 3 generations, like I started with. Now, if this is resonating with you and you want to learn more, hey, listen, subscribe to this channel. This is the tip of the iceberg. It's free. And when you push that button, subscribe, click the little bell also. Then you'll be notified every time I post a new educational video, which I do almost on a daily basis. And as I go through the rest of this, because I want to gift you a copy of a book that's going to just change your life at the end of this episode, and I'll pay for the book, but I want you to click like or post a comment or share with somebody else as we go. When we talk about this, what is the secret to longevity? It's making yourself necessary. It's never losing that zest for living. It's escaping that survival mindset. It's always thriving and growing, that your future will always be bigger than your past. There are 10 laws of lifetime growth that I disclose in my book. And this will help you live longer. Now, it's more than that because thrivers repeat the process. They continue to learn and study and empower. They're in motion. They add value in the world. And you will never run out of energy when you are thriving, instead of just hunkering down like a clam on the bottom of the ocean, waiting for the plankton to float to you. Does that make sense? No, you want to stay in motion like an eagle and be out there in motion and hunt for opportunities and for ways to make yourself necessary every day. So how can you extend your life expectancy? Are you ready? Here is the simple exercise. I credit this to Dan Sullivan, one of my close friends, and he is called the Strategic Coach. He's a business entrepreneurial coach, but also a life coach. One day when I was in with a mastermind group with Dan Sullivan, he did this exercise, and I've done it many, many times with my audiences. And so I'll do it with you right now. I want you to write down or think of a number when I ask you this question. Are you ready? What age will you likely die? Now, it's amazing. Whenever I ask that question, most people immediately can come up with a number, an age. The first time Dan did that with us, I said 87. Why? Well, my dad lived to age 87, and I sort of have the same metabolism or whatever that he had. And I think I'm as active as he was and so forth. Actually, I have a better lifestyle than he did in many ways. My cholesterol's never been over 109 and his was 230 because of some of the things that he ate and so forth. But nonetheless, I said 87. And so whatever your number was when I said, at what age will you likely die? Whatever that age was, okay. Now, let me ask you another question. Let's say it was 87. If you were to die at age 87, how would you like to be at age 86, the year before you died, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially? And people go, oh, I want to be in great shape physically. I don't want to be a burden on anybody. Mentally, I want to be sharp and there. I want to still have a ton of money. Yeah, physically, financially, socially, spiritually, whatever. People want to be at the top of their game still, right? Well, okay. So if you were at the top of your game at age 86, how much longer would you likely live? Just 1 year? Yeah. Well, how much longer? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I've gotten many people say 20 years. Well, what would you start doing, or what would you do with that extra 5, 10, or 20 years? Oh, I would travel around the world. I would do this. I'd write some more books, and I would go out and capture this. I would do humanitarian trips. I would create charities. Why don't you start doing that right now? And you will live longer. See, people think if I get to there, then I will start doing this, and that will give them energy to keep living. Well, if you want the energy and the passion and the purpose to keep living, make yourself necessary, give yourself purpose, start doing those things now, and you will live longer. Sometimes people can have a heart attack or whatever. But generally speaking, people who really mentally picture themselves being vibrant, healthy, dynamic, and doing the things they want, and they start doing it now, they live 5, 10, 15, 20 years longer. I have seen people hang on to age 115 because they first thought they were going to die at age 90 because they did this exercise. You become what you think about. It's more powerful than maybe you realize. If this is resonating with you, I want to gift you this book. This will give you a purpose in your life. It's called Entitlement, Abolition, How to Abolish Entitlement Mindsets, How to Lead Your Family from me to we, together we're better. And it's one of my favorite books that I've written. I've written 12 so far. You do this. You go to entitlementabolitionbook.com. Click on the link below, and you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, but you have to have some skin in the game. And then I will pay for the book, and I'll send out a hard copy. There's options there if you also like to listen and learn or watch and learn. There's an 18-hour masterclass that I recorded that goes way deeper than the book if you want to really implement the 12 chapters in this book to change your life. And so check out in there some of the virtual events when I come to cities and teach this to live audiences. We do it virtually about once a month. So don't miss out on these opportunities, but start by embracing this book and learn by immersion. Immerse yourself in a brighter future.